Sheryl Sandberg is one of social media's top executives. She's also the mother of two who not so long ago suddenly found herself a widow. She talks with Nora O'Donnell of CBS This Morning.
Dave was my rock. Dave was my best friend long before we dated, and then we got married and had two amazing children. He was the one who always told me everything would be okay. And then one day it wasn't okay because he wasn't there.
On that day, nearly 2 years ago, Sheryl Sandberg's husband, 47-year-old tech entrepreneur Dave Goldberg, died while exercising at a Mexican resort.
What were your initial thoughts? I mean, what did you think had happened?
I thought he had fallen off an exercise machine, and that was what the initial report said. But then we got an autopsy, and the autopsy showed that he died of coronary artery disease. He had a cardiac arrhythmia, so he died before he hit the floor.
Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook and author of Lean In, her controversial manifesto on women in the workplace, faced her toughest challenge.
I flew home and told my children, they were 7 and 10, that they'd never see their father again. And as anyone who's ever been through something like this will tell you, it feels like you're not going to get through, a minute, let alone an hour, let alone a day.
Friends and family rallied around her.
My rabbi, he told me to lean into the suck. Lean into the suck. Lean into the suck. And I thought, that is not what I meant when I said lean in. But it was really good advice. Because what he was telling me is, this is going to suck. Don't fight it. My kids and I wrote family rules the first week. And our very first family rule was respect our feelings. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel jealous of other kids. It's okay for them to feel jealous of me because I still have a father and they don't. Something that I'm so grateful I have my father, but I can't believe my children don't have one, and I do. I'm so much older than they are.
Yeah.
30 days after Goldberg's death, Sandberg went public with her grief on Facebook. When tragedy occurs, you can give in to the void, she wrote, or you can try to find meaning. You can
kick the out of option B.
Where did that phrase come from?
A few weeks after Dave died, there was a father-son activity, and I was sitting there with my friend Phil trying to figure out who could go with our son. And we figured it out, but then I just looked at him and I said, I want Dave. I want Dave to do this with our son. And he said, option A is not available, so let's just kick the out of option B.
Sandberg is sharing what she learned about coping with grief in her new book, Option B, Facing Adversity, Building Resilience, and Finding Joy. She co-wrote it with psychologist and author Adam Grant.
You write in the book about how just ordinary events became landmines.
Yeah, total
like
landmines.
School events.
School events. My daughter was in 2nd grade the year Dave died, and I read what she wrote on the very first day of school, and she wrote, I'm in 2nd grade. I wonder what will happen in the future. And I thought to myself, well, what happened is you lost your dad before she finished second grade. And just trying to get through those moments, or even the everyday, was hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Sandberg and Grant write about the pitfalls to coping with tragedy, blaming yourself, not recognizing what's still good in your life, and believing the trauma will last forever.
And we can find things to be grateful for. So one thing that happened is Adam one day said to me, it could be way worse. And I looked at him like, are you crazy? I just lost my husband suddenly. How could it be worse? And he said, Dave could have had that same cardiac arrhythmia driving your children.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you say that, and it's true. That can happen and happens to people. And I thought immediately, oh my God, my kids are alive. I'm good.
Before her husband's death, Sandberg might have been the least likely person to talk about coping with adversity. At 29, she was the chief of staff to Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers. She was a vice president at Google. And in 2008, Mark Zuckerberg asked her to be his number 2 at the social media giant Facebook.
Everyone works in basically one room, one big open room. Mark sits at his desk.
Today, she's a billionaire and one of the most powerful businesswomen in America.
Were you nervous about coming back to work?
Yeah. It wasn't just that I was so grief-stricken. It was that really no one knew what to say to me. And for a lot of people, I think they were afraid of saying the wrong things. So they just said nothing at all. And so I started to feel more and more and more isolated.
The woman who wrote the book on building up women's self-confidence had lost her own.
And one of the suggestions Adam made was write down 3 things you did well before you go to sleep. I had a little notebook by my bed, and at first it was ridiculous. There was nothing I was doing well. Made tea, had fewer diet sodas. I mean, they were really a sad list of things. And just the practice of writing down 3 things that went well, and that was the last thing I thought of at night, really helped build up my self-confidence.
Option B is meant as a guide not just for those dealing with adversity, but for those around them as well.
I used to say to anyone who was facing anything, is there anything I can do? Anything at all. And I meant it. It was coming from a really good place. Right. But when you say that, it shifts the burden to the person to figure out what you can do. And you don't know what to ask for. Like the big things, the small things. Can you make sure my children and I are never alone on a holiday? Because our little family of 3 feels really small. I can't ask for that, you know. But if you do something, you are showing people you are there for them.
When you say people at work didn't know what to say to you, what have you learned about what they could or should have said that might have been helpful?
The most important thing is to acknowledge the pain. And I got this completely wrong before. I thought that if someone was going through something hard, it was really up to them to talk about it. And if I brought it up, I was reminding them.
Or invading their privacy, or
yes.
bringing up a bad topic, or whatever.
Yeah, bringing up a bad topic, reminding them. That's ludicrous. I couldn't be reminded. To this day, I can't be reminded that I lost Dave. I know I lost Dave, and I know it every day. Lean in, team.
We first met Dave Goldberg 4 years ago when we sat down with Dave and Sheryl in their home for 60 minutes in their only joint television interview.
She's an incredible mom. She's also a great, sister, daughter, partner. She's incredible with all of her relationships.
It was clear then how much she relied on him.
One of the things you said then was you cannot have a full career and a full life at home with your children if you're also doing all the homework and all the child care.
Yeah. When I wrote Lean In, I hadn't really ever thought enough about what it was to be a single parent. I don't think I got it. Being a single mother, even for me with all the resources I have, is much harder than I ever imagined.
The last chapter in your book is to love and laugh again. Mm-hmm. Have you been able to do that?
I've had to work hard at finding laughter. Even jokes early on made me kind of gasp in shock, like, oh my God, I just made a joke. I was watching TV with my sister-in-law, and I kind of blurted out, well, at least I don't have to watch Dave's bad TV shows anymore. And then I just froze in horror, like, oh my God. But then we laughed.
For the past year, Sandberg has been dating video game CEO Bobby Kotick.
When it was revealed that you were in another relationship, did you feel judged?
I did. I mean, some people judged me, but the people closest to me were supportive. We judge people, but particularly women, very harshly, often when they date after loss, and that's not fair.
Just as Lean In spawned some 30,000 support groups worldwide, Sandberg hopes Option B will create a global community to help people build resilience.
Because in some way, we are all living Option B. No one's life is perfect. And the question is, when things go wrong, then what? And I learned so much from Dave's death, things that I wish so much I could go back and share with him, but I don't have that option. But I do have the option to live every day with the joy I would have had I known Dave and I had so few years. And I do have the option of helping other people learn those lessons if possible, and that's what I'm hoping Option B does.